smoke weed every day. To some, this is their mantra, and to others, it is just something they said in 4th grade to sound cool, along with, of course, getting money. But did you know, smoking weed isn't just some 21st century trend where after COVID everyone just realized, man, this sucks. Yo, did you hear? The lockdown is ending next week. We finally get to leave our rooms. Man, this sucks. No. People have been getting high off that homegrown natural supply for decades, centuries, dare I say millennia. And over these countless years, a lot of the people who shaped our history also shaped finely ground botanical matter tightly packed within a thin, often translucent paper forming a perfect tube. AKA a joint. I'm saying they smoked weed, okay? Anyway, some of these people we can confirm to have consumed the Lord's loud, and the others we, well, unfortunately just have suggesting evidence for. And one will be complete speculation by me, which try and guess which one of them is which, I'll also tell you at the end of the video. First up, William Shakespeare. The idea that William Shakespeare may have smoked cannabis stems from findings in the early 2000s where scientists discovered pipe fragments in Shakespeare's garden. These pipes contain traces of cannabis, among other substances. While there is no direct evidence that Shakespeare himself used cannabis, the presence of these compounds has led to speculation about whether he might have experimented with that top-shelf Zaza. This theory is further fueled by some interpretations of his writings, such as in Sonnet 76, where he mentions invention in a noted weed, which some suggest could be a subtle nod to using weed as a source of creative inspiration. However, these are only speculations and there's no conclusive evidence to confirm them. Me, however, have no doubt in my mind that that man at least once in his lifetime got faded in a hoe. I mean, they found signs of cannabis among other substances, suggesting to me that one of Shakespeare's friends like Thomas Green or James Burbage once brought Shakespeare some weed not knowing what it was, and after getting high, Shakespeare was all like, to be or not to be, got rich and famous, and then went his entire life trying to find more weed, hence the other substances found in that pipe. But hey, that's just a theory. A high theory. Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria might not be the first person you'd imagine puffing on a joint, but history has its surprises. Back in the Victorian era, our dear queen was quite the savant when it came to pain management. Prescribed cannabis by her royal physician, Sir J. Russell Reynolds, Victoria reportedly used it to relieve menstrual cramps. This makes her one of the earliest known VIPs of the medical marijuana club, proving even monarchs need a little herbal relief now and then. No word on whether it made court affairs more amusing, but one could certainly hope. Although this one is proven to be true, unlike Shakespeare, it isn't quite as, well, entertaining is the right word I guess, as there really is no proof that she ever smoked that OG, just put a few drops under her tongue. Did she ever have the munchies? Did she ever get intentionally high before, let's say, a play to make it more enjoyable? I guess we'll never know. One can only ponder about the royal rotation. George Washington. The $1 bill. America's first president and perhaps its first agricultural innovator in the realm of hemp. In his days, tending to the vast fields of Mount Vernon, Washington got quite savvy with his crops, particularly hemp, which was used primarily for industrial purposes like making ropes and fabrics. But here's a little historical nugget. Washington wrote about separating male from female hemp plants. Now, to the untrained eye, this might just seem like good old farming, but those in the know might wink at the idea that George was onto something more recreational. I mean, why else fuss over female plants known for their higher THC content? Well, there's no smoking gun or smoking pipe, as it were, to prove he partook himself. It does raise eyebrows, and maybe even a few smiles at the thought of the father of his country partaking in a bit of the herb. Of course, there are some other reasons why George could have wanted to separate female plants from male ones, but I just can't imagine being so into weed farming and not even once being curious enough to smoke it. Can you? Probably not. So conclusion, I think he smoked. You think he smoked? He smoked. Herodotus. Often dubbed the father of history, he had quite the knack for detailing the quirky habits of ancient cultures. In his tales, he mentions the Scythians, a group that really knew how to throw a smoky party. They weren't just tossing burgers on the grill, but were burning cannabis seeds to whip up a bathhouse-style smoke fest. Imagine this, ancient warriors chilling in felt tents, getting secondhand highs from hotboxing with hemp. Which leads us to Alexander the Great. Some cultures around his empire used cannabis, such as the Scythians, who, as I mentioned earlier, Herodotus noted used it in steam baths. However, there are no records or indications that Alexander himself used cannabis. His conquest did bring him into contact with many different peoples and cultures, so it's likely he was aware of various herbal practices. However, connecting him directly to cannabis use is, well, fight on! Light on. Unlikely. Louis Armstrong. The jazz virtuoso with a trumpet and a grin as wide as the Mississippi had a special relationship with gauge, his preferred term for marijuana. Armstrong wasn't just casual about his cannabis, he considered it essential to his music and well-being. He famously said that it made him feel good, didn't make him mad, and that he couldn't forget it even if he tried. So integral was marijuana to his routine that he wrote to President Eisenhower advocating for its legalization. We always looked at pot as a sort of medicine, a cheap drunk, and with much better thoughts than one that's full of liquor. Wise words if I do say so myself. For Armstrong, weed was a part of the jazz lifestyle, keeping him cool in the face of the era's hot prejudices and even hotter jazz clubs. Carl Sagan. The Cosmos' personal tour guide was not only fascinated by the stars, but also by the starry effects of marijuana. Under the nom de plume, Mr. X, aka Sagan, extolled the virtues of weed in an essay that spoke of it as both a source of profound philosophical insights and a simple pleasure. He argued that cannabis had a remarkable power to enhance curiosity, appreciation for art, and sensory experiences, essentially deepening the user's connection to the universe. His private use of cannabis was a tool for scientific meditation and personal enlightenment, a kind of mental spacecraft exploring the uncharted territories of the human mind, all while maintaining a vigorous career in astrophysics. What a G! His appreciation for weed was not just about enjoyment, but also an intellectual pursuit, adding a layer of contemplation to his stargazing. This one is one of my favorites because it really just proves that weed doesn't make a hardworking person lazy, it makes a lazy person lazier. And in the case of Mr. X, no, not you Elon Musk, Carl, it's awesome to see an advocate for weed that isn't a rapper or a retired athlete, but an esteemed astrophysicist. No, not you either, Neil deGrasse Tyson, we all know how smart you are. Final person on our list, and the most prominent in Zaza use. Everything he described makes sense to me, as although I'm not hippie enough to say my Zaza destruction is due to me wanting to deepen my connection to the universe, I do however prefer to play No Man's Sky high as ball. You know, back in the day, if you wanted to get high discreetly, well, sorry bro, there was no way. I mean, you got the J, which stanks up everything. You got the bong, which although doesn't stank as much, where you gonna hide it? Imagine trying to sneak by your parents on some... What you doing dropping shit at a time like this, boy? Downstairs, I came down, I wanted a glass of water, yeah. Boy, you must be neurologically disabled if you think that'll excuse you from breaking some dusty-ass dollar store piece and spilling bong water all over my goddamn living room. No, it's... Here, take a smack of this shit. It'll get you proper, boy. Well, that sounds like a pretty fun... Anyway, point is, you're not gonna be hiding that shit for long. Only real option you had was the pipe. But bro, at that point, you sacrificing everything you got for one high. Like, I swear, the pipe is the last way anybody in their right mind wants to get faded. Every time I hit it, it's like my lungs and throat revert back to factory settings, like I ain't never inhaled anything besides O2 before. Basically, by smacking the pipe, you're hurting your lungs and throat to the point it kind of fucks up the first 30 minutes of your high. And that's exactly why when the first penjamin was invented by the scientists at Yodiland, it changed the game, bruh. Never before could you get obliterated on the go regardless of where you were or what you were doing. And thanks to that, getting high has become so damn easy, you got motherfuckers making obliteration their normal state. Never before could someone do anything even remotely sus and you could just assume they were fucking high. My man had sunglasses on for no reason, faded. Dude was staring somewhere for a bit too long, obliterated. Dude went to White Castle for a culinary experience. Well, that motherfucker's just weird. Goddamn cafeteria food. And you can forget about gas stations and fast food places. I mean, at this point, it's like damn near mandatory to be blasted on the job. And I got nothing against that, just since 90% of the time I find myself at 7-Eleven, I'm fried too, and the motherfucker that's supposed to be helping me is trying to scan my items with his damn iPhone. Nah, but for real, the pace that these fried motherfuckers work at is fine when your brain is running at the same low frequency, but if you're in a rush, it'll take damn near every ounce of mental strength you got to stop yourself from forcing a damn self-checkout.
Would you like a bag with that, sir?
Fuck no, here's the money, just give me my shit. But don't get me wrong, I got nothing against a good old penjamin. There really ain't a better on the go, fast and easy way to get faded. Unfortunately, I didn't go to college and kinda cheated my way through high school too, so the 15 or so brain cells I was able to develop that keep me from losing and forgetting shit turned into, well, basically zero. And for that reason, I've already lost 2 of them. One of them slipped out my pocket while I was at the movies, and I'm pretty sure some teenagers stole it, cause after the film, when I was looking for it with my flashlight and shit, these motherfuckers were giggling in the back, looking at me like I was a damn circus clown. Coupled with the fact I was fried as fuck, I was fighting my tears, dog. I just got robbed by some damn teens, and I can't even do shit, cause it was illegal to even bring it in there. Second one I lost in a very similar manner. As I was getting out my Uber going back home, my sweatpants did me dirty and flinged that fucker out as I was standing up. Took me 2 minutes to realize, and when I did, my Uber driver was probably already hitting that shit, cause when I called him back to ask for it, he said,
Let me check. It seems that you only left me a $1 tip. Sorry, I couldn't find it.
And that one hurt the most because that was the first pen I ever had and the one I used for my first penjamin adventure, which my first time was, well, by far the highest I have ever been in my life. I'm talking freaky, I'm talking third person. Shit, it was the first time in years I truly greened the thaw out. For you see, normal weed or bud is just that, normal. So the strength of it is confined in the realms of reality, unless you know it, it's moon rock. Anyway, the biggest difference between smacking a pen versus, let's say, a J is that the pen doesn't have normal bud in it. It has concentrate, which if you're unaware like I was, is about 10 to 20 times stronger than bud. Knowing that, the best way to get faded off the pen is by just taking small rips to avoid getting sent into the goddamn shadow realm. For example, the YouTuber DamianLuck925 is very well known for taking multiple blinkers, which is the biggest hit you can take, outside in social situations, most notably in random classrooms, like it's nothing. So me being at my USA Airbnb alone in the confines of my living room, thought to myself, okay, so it looks like the basic hit I should do at least is 1 blinker, but probably more. Yet what was waiting for me on the other side of Blinker City was something I was not prepared for. Something unholy. The voices. I'll never forget the horrible things they were whispering. They made me almost delete my YouTube channel. Anyway, it started with me ordering a 1-gram pen off of Weed Amazon, and it arrived the very next day in a beat-up Cadillac with a delivery man who, from the looks of it, tests out every product he delivers just, you know, to make sure the quality is there. Yo, bro, you're here for the weed, right? You got the cash? Yeah, I ordered through your website, though. It should be paid for already. Yeah, I forgot I'd take online orders now, too. Anyway, here's the stuff, bro. I trust you. Hey, thanks, bro. Have a good one. You too, man. Hello, Mr. Bro. We got a delivery for you from Weed Amazon that should be arriving in an hour or so. Will you be home then?
Wait, didn't I just...
I'm a gorilla in a fucking scoop. Gonna pull up in the zoo.
Oh, I better get out of here.
So I went back to the crib, penjamin in hand, and prepared myself to get faded. And obviously, I went for a blinker, my very first hit. But since I had never smacked the pen before, I inhaled it for about 4 seconds and stopped because it was so light on my throat, I thought it wasn't working, but it actually was. And from that 4-second puff, I was already quite bamboozled. But since I have this weird rule of every time I get new stuff, I break it in by doing a massive hit, I thought, well, fuck. I was supposed to do a blinker, and went for it again. I inhaled and inhaled for a good 8 to 10 seconds, but the thing just wouldn't fucking blink. It got to the point where there was tears coming from my eyes and my throat was begging me to stop, and it ended up like... I had made a grave mistake. I was so fucking high, I felt my soul leave my body. I was so high, I forgot I was even high. But it was just the beginning, cause over the next 10 minutes, I just kept on getting more faded, and the demons in my head kept on getting louder and louder. But if you know me, I kinda refused to green out, so I just kept on doing random shit like reading the ingredients list off my bag of M&Ms, reading the comments on my videos.
Change at Dark Blue. Do things has changed career. Imagine copying another YouTuber.
Kill yourself. Was not doing good. I was keeping a strong facade, but inside there was a war going on. I was feeling like Naruto with the 9 tails, only instead of an all-powerful destructive force talking to me, I was just really fucking high. Anyway, so yeah, I was grading out, which hadn't happened to me in years, and I concluded that because the voice of reason was completely being outspoken by the voice of tweaking. The good news is though, the hype from the penjamin doesn't last too long, and in about 1 to 2 hours, I had started coming down, but at that point, I was already crawled up in my bed, scrolling endlessly on my phone, until I finally reached a state where I felt good enough to come out of emergency mode and order some food and ate myself into a food coma. So I learned, well, firstly, that motherfucker Fulcrum is actually insane, or his tolerance is just something else, bro, and that the penjamin is best enjoyed in puffs of 3 to 5 seconds. And socializing high. You ever tried holding a conversation while being blasted? It usually ends up being a mixture of trying to remember what the other guy said whilst analyzing the little bit of details that did manage to penetrate into your mind. Just recently, I had a guy come up to me at the store like,
should I get the spicy ones or the cheesy ones? Hey bro, what you doing at Walmart? Who is this guy? Ah, yeah, we met at that party a month ago. Oh yeah, I should say something. Yeah bro, just chilling. Just chilling at Walmart? That's cool that you could just what does that even that mean? My mom just should I say something to add to it? I don't know where to go. No, it's too long already. I'm gonna be homeless soon. Wait, what's this guy talking about? So yeah, just been really sad because of that lately. Yeah man, I get you. But don't worry, cause there's always a bright side at the end of the tunnel, man. Bright side at the end of the tunnel? My mom just died and I'm gonna be homeless now, so I don't know about that, man. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't know. But I just told you 10 seconds ago. Okay, see you, bro. Hope things get better soon. What was that guy talking about? I don't know. I think I'll take the spicy Doritos.
It's even worse when you blast it onto Mars with a spaceship type of high. Cause I swear, I be getting memory wiped every 5 seconds. Like, I don't want to be mean or anything, but please understand, if you don't get your point across in 5 seconds or less, I'ma be right back to thinking about that one meme on Reddit I saw 2 weeks ago. Bro, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I finally got it. The secret to making endless money is... and that's all you gotta do.
Wait, sorry bro, I'm kinda faded than a hoe out here right now, so... You said the secret to making endless dough was... Yeah man, what I was basically saying was that all you gotta do is start a business involving... So yeah man, I can help you get started. I've already quit my job and moved to Dubai. You can join me. Move to Dubai? What's this guy on about? I think I'm just gonna leave. So bro, what you think? You ready to get rich? Nah man, I don't think that's gonna work. Now, excuse me, I'm gonna go take a shit.
It's not all bad though. You gotta love it when you see a homie at the store who's also blasted to the moon. The Zaza makes you connected on a multiversal level like,
hey bro, what you doing? Nothing, chilling.
Funny you say that. I would have answered the exact same way if you asked me that question.
Sorry man, I'm faded than a hoe right now, and I just got hit with that memory wipe, so what you say again?
Oh shit, you high too?
Duh, I'm at the store, what else would I be?
For sure, you tryna hit up that candy section though?
Damn dog, you read my mind.
Unfortunately, social situations can be pretty tough if you're not an experienced blazer, especially if you're talking to people you want to leave a good impression on. But remember, if you're ever in irreversible trouble and you have no idea what to respond, just say,
that's crazy, bruh, but I'm way too faded right now. I'm sorry, I don't think I quite understand.
I said that I'm faded than a hoe up in this bitch.
No, Charles, you're fired.
Zyn, the all-new and improved nicotine device. You see, unlike before with vape companies who sold you a product that was near perfect, Zyns are perfect. I mean, just look at Tucker Carlson, who interviewed Putin while going double upper decky, triple lower decky the entire time, and you didn't even notice.
Перестаньте виставлять на показ Zyn, передайте мне 2, чтобы я мог как минимум удвоить верхнюю палубу.
But besides that largely unconfirmed dialogue, I mean it when I say Zyns are the future of nicotine addiction. And unlike you Americans who might just be hearing about the Zyn, me, a veteran snus stuffing European, will tell you that this is merely the tip of the iceberg. Because when an American first tries Zyn, it usually plays out like this.
So I just put it under my gum?
Yeah, that's called going upper decky, bro. alright, if you say so. Okay, so what am I supposed to, what's this? This is the buzz? I'm a bit... I gotta sit down. Yeah, bro, you just went to Upper Decky Capital. You're gonna be buzzing like a bee. But to me and every other Northern European, the Sin seems like a product that should be sold at the baby aisle at Target. And no, that is in no way to brag. I am ashamed and quite literally making this video to warn you guys. Because all of this pouch stuff seems to be new, so you might not even know about the 5 levels of Sin addiction that will be waiting for you once you get to level 1. It's called Sin, bro. It's not even that bad. You have been introduced to Sin, and hopefully you declined, but most likely you didn't, and now you're experiencing a buzz unlike you've never had before. Since it's your first Sin, this will be what you'll set as a baseline for your addiction in the future, because as we know, the first high is always the craziest. But with Sin, the guy who gave you it is probably already muttering something about, yeah bro, it's like the perfect nicotine delivery system. You know, Nick increases your testosterone and boosts your focus, and you know, Sin isn't even that harmful for you, bro. And well, you just made your first mistake by actively opening the floodgates for these words to penetrate your ear hole and reach the cool part of your brain, which is now telling you, bro, it's not right-wing propaganda, Sins are the future, and you know, it's not even that bad for you, man. Which, unfortunately, now, bro, you're moving on to level 2. I'm responsible. I'll take the free milligram one, please. Thank you. Free MG? Shit, bro, my first time was a 35 MG, motherfucker. So, you have your own Sin, and feel inclined to make it an integral part of your personality, so whenever someone asks, hey yo, what's that? You will happily give the factory preset AI-generated voice line of, bro, you haven't heard? This is Sin. It's like the future, bro. You wanna try one? And congratulations, you are now actively participating in the new Juul pandemic, and doing exactly what they want you to do. Not just get addicted, get everybody else too. Only problem is, you are slowly starting to realize that going double upper decky, triple lower decky isn't really doing it for you anymore. And there's only so much room in your gums, so now you move on to level 3. I'll take the 6mg one, please, thank you. Welcome to the pinnacle of Sin, a true Sinhead, a maestro at the upper and lower decky. You must now continue to spread the word of Sin, all about slowly realizing your gums are kind of coarse, and that every day you go to sleep, your main motivation for the coming morning seems to be, oh, can't wait to get that first Sin lit, baby. Which, once you make it here, you can confidently call yourself a Sinhead, and find yourself popping them every chance you get. I mean, you wake up, Sin, eat breakfast, Sin, go to school or work, Sin. Sinning has really taken over your life, man, goddamn. But regardless, everybody cool is sinning, so it's okay. It's the future, right? Well, here's where you might do a bit more research into the topic and realize nicotine pouches have been around for decades, and that in places like Russia and Sweden, dudes have literally died from sinning, or well, Siberia Pablo extra stronging too hard. Cause you see, 6mg is actually like really light. I mean, in Estonia, the most commonly used product is 35mg. Yeah, almost 12 times stronger than the base model Sin. So you either realize you're on a fucking slippery slope crafted and marketed by big tobacco and stop, or you keep going and find yourself on level 4. You have Velo. You might not specifically get Velo. You have Velo is just a marketing slogan I saw they're running in Poland. Anyway, now you're not really cool anymore. I mean, everybody is sinning, and now you're just kind of the guy who took it too far. But I guess you're kind of in my shoes, eh? You feel like you know more than the rest, that Sin is for babies. On top of that, you still haven't dealt with your crippling nicotine addiction. If a free MG Sin will get someone who has never done nicotine buzz like a bee, the average Velo will in fact make him vomit and feel sick for 30 minutes. Now for real, like back in the day, a big challenge some degenerate high schoolers in my country used to push to their friends was something like, put this 30mg pouch upper decky right now, and if you can manage for 5 minutes, I'll give you $10. And the outcome was usually the challengee puking and feeling sick in about 1. Unlike me though, I held a 35mg for 5. And I wasn't even challenged. I'm just born to be a sinner, I guess. Anyway, there is one more level, which most people probably won't get to because it's kind of getting ridiculous, but level 5, Siberia Max 100mg fucking annihilator. At this point, you might as well just move to Sweden, bro, because the people in the US, man, they just don't get you. Ah, you're sinning, eh? Try this, it's a bit stronger. Alright, why not?
Okay, this is...
Couldn't handle the man shit, eh? Hey, you good, bro?
I'll be on my way then.
After realizing you literally can't exist without Zin, you might want to quit, but it's basically impossible. Well, not impossible, but usually the types of people who go over level 3 are the types of people who say stuff like,
You know, man, I'll quit when I want to.
which means never, or until their doctor says they are literally dying because of it. Unfortunately, the largely unknown health-related side effects have made sinning seem like it can't be that bad. Well, since I'm a certified sinner, I'll walk you through the average day of a veteran pouch addict. First things first, of course, you gotta wake up, and most civilized people, including me, wait at least till after eating breakfast to go upper decky. Although that doesn't mean there isn't a voice in your head every single day egging you on to sin as soon as your fucking mind becomes conscious. Shit, sometimes I even be seeing that bitch in my sleep, which makes it even more tempting cause now I don't even get a choice in what I think about in the morning. The sin literally won't let me be unaddicted even in my fucking dreams. Talk about free advertising, goddamn. Anyway, once you sin in the morning, your first lit is usually a non-productive one, so you kinda just scroll your phone and chill on the couch. I like to look at the first sin as my only entertainment pouch for the day, and the rest are just kinda there to help me focus and get my shit done. Also, after multiple upper deckies and lower deckies, your decky gets more and more coarse, and the sin less sinny, and at some point you get really tired and realize, oh shit, I gotta eat too, because you can't hold back your hunger with sin forever. Cause eventually your body will be like, I don't know if you've noticed, bro, but we're kind of dying here. And so you get a solid belly full, but not because you were hungry, more like you wanted to go double upper decky, but you knew it would just make you sick with an empty stomach. But sometimes you see, you feel bad about your sin addiction, so you Google if you should stop and systematically ignore all the cons and just end up focusing on, it's not that bad, bro. For me, what always brings me back is the focusing and relaxation properties of the Zin. When I'm off the stuff, I feel like I need to rest more. And for example, when I broke my back, I didn't sin for like a month cause I was just resting. Now that I'm back at full swing though, every time when my body says, yo bro, let's take a break, I'm like, break, yes of course. You mean double upper decky? No, what I mean, you wanna go crazy tonight. Double upper decky, triple lower decky, shall we? And so I pop it and continue on with whatever the fuck I'm doing. I guess what I'm trying to say is though that sins are bad, like really bad, but not so much because of the health implications. Well, they might be, we just don't know yet. Anyway, once you get into the habit of equating sinning with productivity like I have, it's very, very hard to quit. Because the grind never stops. But does that mean the sin never stops? No, it can't. Yeah, just don't ever do it, bro. You'll be so much better off. And in like 3 years, when everyone realizes that this is just Joule 2.0, you can proudly say, I didn't fall for it. Mushrooms are a lot like that one friend who is always talking and it kind of annoys you, but at the same time you love him cause you know he's always keeping it real with you. So if you are fiending for a third eye awakening on some Dragon Ball Super shit, you better be ready for the Shroomy Shrooms to take you through the depths of your unconscious, where it will dig out and highlight questions about your very fabric of existence like, who am I? Why are we here? Do I like men? But anyway, that doesn't happen the very instant you eat the shrooms. In fact, the stages of a mushroom trip are so different, each one of them could be considered a substance of their own. But the first stage everyone experiences is Stage 1, Ingestion/come up. Right after consuming those Mario power-ups, you might feel your stomach twist and turn a bit, as your body is signaling to you, this shit was not food, wasn't it? But thankfully, it's usually pretty minor and goes away after a few minutes. While waiting for the shrooms to kick, you probably stare at a bunch of random objects hoping to find some type of moving pattern, cause that's what shrooms are supposed to do, right? Well, yeah, kind of, but after 30 minutes goes by and you're still staring at the wall with no sign of visual hallucinations, you probably think to yourself, man, I got scammed, didn't I? But then you start really thinking about it. Are you feeling something? And then you think about the next thing, and the next thing, and then you might laugh at something completely random like this picture of SpongeBob, and boom, you now realize they weren't duds, and you're about to go on a journey, bro. Also, after all this, you probably move on to Stage 2, Questions that lead to more questions. You're at the point now where you know the shroom's kicking, but you don't really see any visuals except for maybe the increased significance of every object, but the main thing is you have started questioning everything you know, but not in a scary way of nothing matters, there is no point. More of a, man, I love hanging out with Charlie. Wait, do I though? What type of person is he actually? He's friendly but kinda secretive and keeps to himself. What is he keeping to himself?
Could he be a totally different person? Am I becoming a better person by hanging out with him?
What is going on?
So yeah, this stage can be very eye-opening to some, especially if you're the type of person to hang on to problems and worries instead of facing them. Because however hard you try not to think about something, the shrooms won't let you. And although it might seem like that's a bad thing, it's actually not. And you should treat this time of the trip to pinpoint the main questions you would like to receive some type of answers to by the end. Because soon after, you're gonna go to Stage 3. Holy shit! The mushrooms are now almost at full effect, and you're definitely seeing some hallucinations, like moving patterns, disfigured items, wavy hands, etc. But to be honest, that isn't really the main thing, because if you approach this trip with the right mindset, as in you wanted to actually take something with you to the real world afterwards, then currently you are most likely intensely trying to piece together the answers to the questions you highlighted on the previous stage. But it ain't as easy as it seems. It feels like you were constantly on a breakthrough to something really important and significant, but then you lose it and have to start again with the pieces you left off with. But if you stick with it, you always figure something out. Maybe not the full picture, but something. Also, you shouldn't blame yourself if you start talking or thinking about something that you feel is very amazing, but then halfway through realize you literally pondering about the implications of the evolution of the Pringles Man logo, bruh. But not to worry, that's the beauty of shrooms. They make you think about everything on a deeper level, and if you can find the correct things to think about through the clutter of Matrix conspiracy theories, you'll still emerge victorious. Speaking about emerging, the next stage is Stage 4. The slow come down. You are now slowly coming down from the shrooms, which is indicated by the fact you don't see as many trippy patterns anymore, but also you're more realistic in your thoughts as well. Also, at this point, you probably aren't bouncing from thought to thought as much anymore and have chosen a definitive couple of things to think about. And with those things, you will find answers, but also a lot of new questions, which can be frustrating, well, until you get to the next and final stage. Stage 5. Journey complete. At this point, you have almost completely came down from the magic, but not really, because although you don't see any hallucinations anymore, you feel more in touch with reality and yourself. The best way I can describe this stage is like it's the fruit of your labor. This is the stage where you've gone through the constant questions and search for answers and come out victorious. Best way I can describe it is like you're high off some Zaza, but with a much clearer head. So this is the perfect time to play some video games, watch a movie, or do really anything you find fun.
We all know there is an invisible hierarchy in high school that depending on where you stand will determine how many backflip.
Hey everybody, watch me do this backflip. Don't worry, I'm
Okay, so that probably won't advance you to the next level, but you know what I mean. Anyway, let's move on to Level 4, the popular kid. You've done it. You are officially popular. So now you are finally qualified to attempt raising up those big booty Latinas. Emphasis on attempt, because even though you are invited to every party and have a lot of friends, doesn't mean your riz is up to par. That being said, Level 5, Chad. Welcome to the pinnacle of popularity. Not only are you liked by almost everyone, you are also respected. Cause remember that super hot model chick you were stalking on IG? She is now one of your many achievements in the cruel and unforgiving world of high school. To add to that, not only are you invited to every party, you are the foundation to a great high school function. Cause if you pull up, so do the hoes. Knowing that, you pick and choose if a party is deserving of your immaculate riz. But there is someone you fear, someone who challenges your undisputable game in the shadows, someone who didn't have to earn the power. He was born with it. He is Level Infinity, Sigma Chad. This is what most total geeks think they are, dream of being. He really doesn't care at all about his riz. In fact, he doesn't even know what it means. All he knows is for some reason every time he talks to any girl, they get all giggly and anxious. This person has the natural social skills and looks to be a LA influencer, but he just doesn't care, and that's the reason why the Chad doesn't like him. But unlike everybody else, the Chad holds no power over this guy. In fact, he fears him, because if he were to talk bad about the Sigma, it would greatly lower his popularity. And what angers the level 5s the most is the fact that the Sigma acts oblivious to the hierarchy, so he might hang out with a group of geeks one day and then go to a cheerleader-only party the next, whereas the Chad must adhere to the social structure in order to maintain his position as the king of high school, which means in reality, he is still just another pawn in the endless struggle to become popular. but that's just a theory. A game theory. The plug. A holy being that will always be there for you, especially when you don't need him. And also occasionally when you do. And because I don't live in the fancy America, where all the big vloggers and TikTokers are, I still rely on the plug for my Zaza. But after years of buying from different plugs, I always wondered how much money do these guys actually make and what are the requirements to be successful in the profession? Well, finally, after the introduction of a new, scientifically enhanced type of grass, HHC, I kinda got the answer to these questions, and I'ma be honest with you, it ain't what I expected. As I said before, it all started with the introduction of the so-called new and improved ZA, HHC. And because it was new and regulations had not been set, even in my Stone Age country where an 18-year-old can buy a liter of vodka and drink himself to death, or just get hammered and get the sudden urge to call out the 6'5" undefeated heavyweight MMA fighter at the club because, well, when he sees red, bodies start dropping. Anyway, since this was legal and I am a law-abiding citizen who wouldn't even dare to jaywalk, I thought to myself, this is the perfect moment to see what being the plug is all about. Furthermore, because most dudes in this country don't know anything about strains, hash, bud, and just take whatever the plug has, I didn't need to worry about people thinking I scammed them. Also, your boy conducted a thorough inspection of this new product using only the most delicate and scientific tools possible. Oh, okay, I hit that shit through a Red Bull canning. It kicked pretty nicely, so I dubbed it Verified Lab. After securing half an ounce of the Verified Lab, which is 14 grams in European tongue, I went to work on finding customers. And obviously the best place to start is on Snapchat. So I took a picture of the Zaza with the caption, $15 per gram, hit me up. Which is a steal, because, well, it sold for 20 a G here. And unfortunately, I only got one sale, cause I guess most of the people who I knew smoke Verified Lab were plugs themselves and knew of the existence of HHC and that it's like $6 a gram. But I was still determined to flip them packs and make them racks, so I hit up the most trustworthy plug I knew who actually had people in his contacts who smoked Verified Lab, but were not in the business of trapping themselves. After a thorough business meeting where we may or may not have smoked the grass ourselves, he conducted that the gas I had was indeed worthy of the title Verified Lab, and offered to buy it all for $12 a gram, which, I mean, I got it for 8.5, so I obviously said yes. At first I thought that was all. I made a nice profit of about $40 and was feeling good. But after about 2 days, I got a message from the plug I conducted business with reading, "Bro, that shit sold out quick. Can you order more? I think I can actually sell this stuff for 25 a G, cause people want the same stuff real bad." Now, I think you are currently pondering two questions. Why didn't he just order more himself? And how the hell did these dudes not know it was HHC? Well, the reason he didn't order more himself is quite simple. He is a full-time OG plug, so dudes does not have a bank account to order stuff. And to answer the second question, I truly don't know. I couldn't really believe it myself, but I guess most stoners really don't give a fuck about news and staying up to date with it. In the words of the great plug himself, these dudes just wanna get as up as possible. They don't know nothing about no THC, HHC, CBD, BBC, NBA, MMA, nothing. Anyway, it all sounds great, right? Everybody loves the Verified Lab and are willing to pay premium for it. Plus, it's all technically legal and I don't even need to sell it myself. Well, it would have been, but there were two problems that made it a bit more sketch. You see, the issue with HHC is that it's a chemically produced product. All it actually is THC with a couple extra hydrogen molecules. And through thorough research, both practical and scientifical, I found out that HHC is very unstable in nature, meaning one patch of the same strain can truly be Verified Lab. But then the next patch made with the exact same ZA and same way could be some whack leftover Reggie. It's because it's very hard to control how well this hydrogen molecule binds to the THC, and not financially worth it to control the potency of each patch. So you could order that shit once and get some damn moon rock, or like the first experience I had with HHC, get some damn oregano. And the second problem was the plug I was conducting business with didn't want that risk all to himself, so I would have to cover the upfront costs of the HHC and then give it to him where he would hopefully flip it for $25 a G,
which I would receive 15 bucks a G and him 10. So here I was, with quite the pickle of a conundrum. Should I order a whole ounce of HHC, which by buying an ounce you get the best price per gram, but I risk it being whack Reggie? Or should I just order a fourth, therefore lowering the risk of getting whack product, but also lowering the profit margins? And the conclusion I arrived at was the best of both worlds. I ordered half an ounce just like before. After receiving the good, I gave half of it to the trustworthy OG plug and waited for that passive income to roll in. But unfortunately, it was as I feared. The stuff I got this time was still good and solid, but it just wasn't the verified loud I received before. So the OG plug was having trouble marketing it as premium ZA and lowered the price to the industry standard 20 bucks a G. But unfortunately, dudes were catching on as well, and some of them refused to buy the ZA cause they could just order it online. Like, yeah, you can, but wouldn't you rather buy from your friendly neighborhood plug? I guess not, cause after a couple days, the OG plug sent me another message. Yo, this stuff ain't moving like before, and people catching on about the origins. I have half of the stuff left. If you want, I'll buy it out for 10 bucks a G, or just return it to you. Which I hesitantly chose the first option, so I had him just buy it out. Yet there was still the issue of the 7 Gs or so I had left, which I initially planned on flipping, but was unfortunately unable to, cause mofos knew I got that shit for pennies compared to the asking price. So I did as old plugs would do and dubbed the leftover HHC as my personal stash, and just started blazing my own product, which was kinda stupid in hindsight because a couple weeks after, HHC was illegalized, as we all knew it would be, and became a rarity in the ZA industry. Which mofo started flipping that shit for 30 bucks a G, like goddamn, it ain't even that different from normal ZA. Anyway, by the end of it all, I made a bit under $100 in profit, or in another metric, about 10 Gs of ZA, which I smoked myself. So really the conclusion to my plugging experience was I got free grass, which was a bit underwhelming cause I was hoping to become the local Pablo Escobar, if you know what I mean. Moral of the story is don't get high off your own supply, or at least if you want to be a businessman. Oh, and also don't sell illegal things, cause well, this HHC was legal, so I could have technically flipped it on Facebook Marketplace or something.
And not blinkers.
Blazing with people is a lot different than blazing alone. Because whereas being alone, you can just let your mind drift to wherever, if you're with others, you have to, well, at least you should, understand the general vibe and direction of the convos and interactions. Unfortunately, however much you might try to be unbiased, you will discover that there are certain people you will want to smoke with again and will always be invited to the sesh. But then there are also dudes who, after you get faded with once, will leave you contemplating if you ever want to consume that ZA in a social setting again, or at least with new people, cause you never know if the new guy will be the dude who gets way too intense about everything. Nobody likes this dude, and for a reason. When mofos is faded, they just wanna chill and be happy, but this gremlin finds it necessary to express his deepest resentment or strongest belief in his personal opinions. The group could be talking about some chill like the fragrance of the ocean or the beauty of the sun, and this dude will start spitting out shit like, man, what a day to get lit. No clouds, sunlight on the skin, it's warm, just great. Yeah, man, you're right. What a time to be alive.
You do know about global warming, right? The day we are having is just a byproduct of the disaster that is about to overtake our planet.
Yeah, I know, but shit, I ain't worrying about all that right now. I'm just enjoying the moment, you know?
Well, you should be. Do you know that people like you are the reason why this is all happening? People who don't care and just do whatever they please.
Hey man, chill. I recycle, plus I don't even be driving that much, man. I just be walking around.
Whatever, you do you. Just know you're a part of the problem, not the solution. Like I am. I'm like a part of the solution. I'm really cool.
Like screw you, man. Learn to read the room, Mr. I think like this and therefore you must too. But switching things up, the next guy on the list is someone you definitely want in the sesh. The dude who knows a bunch of random but interesting stuff. Bro, I always enjoy it when a dude like this is in the sesh. Instead of pushing some agenda like the previous guy, he always just adds to the convo in a meaningful and interesting way. Like mofos could be talking about some History Channel shit, and this dude would be knowing all the facts and details. He pretty much like the sesh version of Google, but instead of giving you long paragraphs, he hits you with stuff like, guys, even though it's called World War II, it was only fought in Europe. So why it ain't called Europe War II?
What?
Nah, but real, I could make a whole video on the stuff I've heard from dudes like this. But the next guy is more of a hit or miss. The dude who rarely smokes. Now, this man either folds under the pressure of the za and just sits quietly observing everybody like an owl, or instead he becomes one with the za and becomes a conduit of it, allowing words to flow from the holy plant itself. Plus, I swear, laughter is contagious, and if a dude like this is feeling comfortable, he always 100% of the time finds everything hilarious, and that good vibe rubs off on everybody, boosting everyone's giggles by a good 25%. But as I said, he kind of a hit or miss, so if he doesn't allow the za to flow through his veins, he'll just sit there quietly giggling by himself like Gollum or something. Yet, you shouldn't hold it against him, cause I think we've all been there, overwhelmed by the power of the green magic. But this next guy is the exact opposite and the universally hated dude at the sesh. The fool who hogs the s***. No one likes a greedy spliff hogger, especially if he himself did not bring any to the sesh and is just riding on the other's hard-earned zaza. The excuse this dog always has is,
My tolerance is much higher than all yours, so in reality, we're all getting the same amount.
and I mean, yeah, technically, but still, that's on you. If you haven't been managing your tolerance and been abusing the za to the point you need to smoke the whole spliff of premium backwood to feel something, then you better bring extra stuff to the sesh. And if you can't afford it, well, start a GoFundMe or something, you goddamn parasite. Shit's pissing me off just thinking about it. But this next guy definitely won't piss you off. In fact, when this dude is rumored to be at the sesh, it's always a must-go. I'm talking, of course, about the plug. Now, you might be wondering, why is this guy so great? Why is it a must-go when he is at the sesh? Well, the answer to that is, he is the plug, and therefore has a shitload of zaza, and the best part being, it's usually all free. Bro, I've smoked with the plug many times, and they always bust out that exotic stuff for everybody to enjoy. And honestly, that's just a part of it, because this guy knows a lot about the magic green plant, and I swear, the best thing to talk about when high is zaza, how it's grown, the differences in strains, the differences in effects. It all becomes 200% more interesting when you blazed. And on top of all that, you know for 100% sure that this dude will never freak out nor ruin the group's vibe because he got too high. Shit, my man might freak out for not being high enough. Man, smoking too much is such an awkward thing, especially because of how normalized getting faded has become. Nobody wants to be the guy who kills the vibe by admitting they graining the fuck out. Like, dudes be knowing they approaching their limit, but peer pressure is a bitch. Like this one time in school when we were smacking the paper penjamin on lunch break, and I could tell everybody was nearing the border between Yodiland and the upside down, but this motherfucker Salamander just kept on passing the J, and nobody wanted to be the first one to back out. Everyone kept on puffing and puffing until this one motherfucker just started puking like goddamn. Safe to say, dude probably hasn't smoked again till this day. But you know, that was high school. Most kids weren't on that Wiz Khalifa pack like Salamander. I mean, this dude's parents were barely home, so mans must have just been low-key looking for attention by acting out, but instead all he got was Snoop Dogg's tolerance and all the school thotties daily driving his dick. Some of you might not even know what it feels like when you smoke too much though. Shit, I know I didn't. My dumbass always just concluded that the stuff was laced, which looking back at it now makes me feel like a dinglebop for real. I mean, how you gonna smoke way more than you usually do in a situation you're not super comfortable in and then blame it on the weed? It's like a drunk driver suing an alcohol brand for making him unable to drive straight. Shit, it's like going to the store and buying too much food and then blaming the cashier for not stopping you. Like, bro, it's not on Jimmy the Plug God. Dudes is probably smoking the same stuff as we speak. And yeah, I know sometimes it could actually be laced, but what does telling yourself that help? Like, wouldn't it be better to believe it's not and your brain is just tweaking? Then you could maybe, you know, calm yourself down. Unlike when you've convinced yourself the Plug is a fucking supervillain going around giving his customers schizophrenia. Like, goddamn son, someone's gotta like the bat signal for real. But shit, I'm out here preaching like I ain't done this myself. Back when I was younger, I did green out a couple times, but since then, I have developed rules I follow to avoid this at all costs. Like, for example, first rule, you don't always gotta get obliviated, bruh. Seems simple enough, right? But back in the day, every time we were smoking, my dumbass felt like I had to get higher than last time. Once the J reached me, I just...
Thanks, bro. You guys got another one?
Bro,
No. There's just some basic etiquette too, like everybody wanna get faded equally, but one thing with smokers is they usually always chill and peaceful, so when you start hogging a spliff, rarely is somebody gonna forcefully take that shit from you. Just next time when you pull up, they'll bag your ass, pistol whip you, throw you in the trunk, and bury you alive next to Mr. Beast. That video would probably have to be on Rumble though. But point is, you don't always gotta be the highest in the room. Second rule, accept your limits. This is low-key the most important and the most difficult, but you might be thinking something like, don't you mean know your limits? No, I don't, bro. Cause I bet most y'all know them. Just when you be watching Fulcrum smacking the penjamin like that bitch be only containing O2, you get a false understanding on how much mofos be actually smoking. Cause you can always do more, but what you can't do is forcefully remove the THC from your system and get less high. So don't be a victim of peer pressure just cause you wanna be cool, fool. But these rules don't mean shit if you don't factor in where you are and what you're doing. Which leads me to the day that made me come up with these rules. The time in my young life when I smoked so much in the wrong place, I was goddamn obliviated. Shit, I smoked so much I had less dialogue options than an oblivion NPC. The first time I got high outside the comfort of me or a friend's crib, it was the usual business. We were chilling with the gremlins, me, Salamander, and Ricky, smoking up, talking about how we don't fall with school and how we finna make it out the hood. You know, the usual Gen Z shit. When Salamander, being the thotty magnet he was, got a text from one of his female companions inviting to what this motherfucker claimed to be a chill hangout spot. Although I do trust the homies, knowing Salamander's track record, I was a bit sus, cause I seen the places this dude hangs out at. I'll be waking up at the middle of the night to take a piss, then check the snap only to see dudes partying at some straight up trap house bugging off fucking ketamine. Okay, can't say that on YouTube, but let's just say it wasn't weed. Anyway, you know the drill. I don't wanna go, Salamander uses his 99 speech, convinces Ricky, now it's a 2v1, and I fold. Epic victory royale. But I agreed only under the condition that none of us drink nor do anything else but smoke the Lord's loud, because it was a motherfucking Thursday after all, so I wasn't trying to pull up to school smelling like a bum, acting like a depressed middle-aged man from The Hangover. Looking back at it though, that was probably the wrong call, cause, well, you'll see. So we're walking to the crib and Salamander lights up this comically big J that he rolled back at his place with a week's supply. While we're almost finished puffing and on the edge of obliviation, I see this super dope house that seems to be having a party, so I excitedly asked Salamander, yo, is that the spot? Bro, okay, that place does seem pretty dope. Oh yeah, that's the spot. Glad you fought with it. Some people are kinda put off by it from the initial appearance. Anyway, let's just go in. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You first though. Where you going? What do you mean? The crib, bro. Leave it to Salamander to have you walk through an amazing street filled with beautiful houses and lead you to the only one that looks like Shrek's vacation home. To add to it, me and Ricky were quite frankly bugging. But as I mentioned in the previous rules, that's not always a good thing, especially when you're preparing to go into a house where your brain has calculated a 50-50 chance of being stabbed in the gut by a freaking tweaker with a kitchen knife. In my head, I was thinking, well, hoping for the saying, don't judge a book by its cover to be the case here. But oh boy, I should have judged the goddamn book by its cover and dashed off like Prime Usain Bolt. Cause what we were dealing with was in every sense of the word except not containing any of the actual substance, I think, a crack house. These people were blasting some of the most disgusting music I've ever heard. Shit sounding like the noise a speaker makes when you fiddle with the aux cord. And because I was high, that set the whole tone of my experience there. And shit, I did not know Salamander hanged out with vampires. Most of the dudes there were looking what you would imagine the local bum to be when he was young. I was in total shock. My teenage brain could not comprehend the degeneracy, the idiocy, the overall lack of humanity in that house. And it's not like I didn't try to have fun, but our highness did not mix with whatever the fuck these guys were on. At some point, I saw him pull out a vodka bottle, and they drank the whole thing in 5 minutes dry, straight from the bottle, like they were trying to speedrun liver failure. I attempted to conversate with some of them, but to no avail. I mean, what did I expect though? A drunk person usually isn't on the same wavelength as a high person, combined with the fact these dudes probably just got done sacrificing a goat to bring forth the Antichrist. I was starting to tweak the fuck out. Well, not tweak, I guess. Me and Ricky did have some fun by just bantering about how messed up of a place we had found ourselves in. All of this didn't seem to affect Salamander though, as we spotted him rizzing up a girl we assumed was the one that invited him, but we were wrong in that assessment because 5 minutes later the girl who actually invited him saw it, went up to him, yelled at him, and then slapped that man so hard it made him rethink his whole damn life. Cause as we were laughing at what had happened, he walked straight towards us and said, "Man, You guys want to do some ketamine?
Nah, he actually told us that this was probably a bad idea and that he's ready to leave if we are. Good thing too, cause if that girl hadn't slapped some sense into him, Salamander might have gone on to do the thing I mentioned like 3 times in this video. So anyway, we went back home at like 2 AM or something, put on some WWE on the TV, prepared to gleep, and got obliviated. Doesn't go much further than that.
Shout out to Volcro.
You know, the line between a fun high and a you done high is very thin, and that shit is no joke. Sometimes all it takes is just one extra puff. And that's when I finally realized that dude was not talking about no Coca-Cola the drink.
Wait, but I did buy this weed from him. I wonder if...
No, wait, it can't be.
Everybody stop right now! I think we're all smoking crack!
Hey, yo, see, you got any more of that weed you gave me yesterday? Oh, it's really good shit. Yeah, I really like it. Hey, yo, I see you have some. Hey, yo, give me, I'll give you anything. I'll fucking suck your dick.
And that's exactly why you can never trust a plug who also sells that Coca-Cola, if you know what I'm saying. But your weed being laced with a substance that'll change the chemistry of your brain and make the pursuit of your dreams and happiness into the pursuit of concentrated 1900s Coca-Cola and ruin your life forever is the least of your worries when you smoke up with a bunch of sad boys. Now, don't get me wrong, mental health is very important and you should never keep everything inside because your loved ones want to help you. But bro, ever since Juice WRLD dropped Lucid Dreams, motherfuckers will find any reason to be depressed.
I still see your shadows in my room. Can't take back the love that I gave you.
Yo, what's going on with you, bro? Like, you've been acting really sad as of late.
You wouldn't understand. I'm depressed. There's just no point to anything.
Wait, but you weren't depressed 2 days ago. Oh, you're on a sad boy phase.
Sad boy? No! Oh, fuck, I guess I am.
Yeah, bro, how about we go to Salamander's place, get obliterated, and play some Super Smash Bros. Instead of whatever the fuck you're doing here?
Yeah, what am I doing here?
Yeah, let's just get out of here.
1 hour later.
So, Ricky, you still sad? Nah, I'm having a blast. Wait, but you were saying something about like someone's shadows you were still seeing in your room?
I don't want to talk about that.
And that's the story of how we were able to stop Ricky from becoming a full-time sad boy, just in the nick of time. But besides almost losing a friend to the song Sad, exclamation point, there have been 2 extremely scary highs I have gone through. One was instigated by the po-po, man, fuck the police, and the other was from the fear of losing my life. Let me set the scene for you. I'm in high school and I've smoked maybe 3 or 4 times ever, but the last time I did was months ago, so my tolerance was damn near at the level of smelling some grass and getting faded. Anyway, so I had a couple friends who have been asking me relentlessly to get some and get faded because they didn't know any plugs and really wanted to try it. So one weekend I decided to finally fulfill their request and hit up my homie Salamander and acquired the exotic. The weekend came and we found ourselves in my dorm room rolling a J, which, well, I had rolled it and it took me a while because my stats were low AF. Basically, I was out there trying to pick an expert level lock with 0 points in perception, dog. After going through 20 papers, the abomination was ready though, so we went deep into the local park and sparked it. Barely, because that shit had almost 0 airflow. I had to relight the damn thing after every puff. Yet that was definitely not even close to the worst part, because these motherfuckers were begging me to get the Zon in the first place, were scared shitless to get high, so I ended up smoking like 80% of the J myself, leaving me absolutely zoinked in a group where nobody else wasn't. So you can imagine I was feeling pretty betrayed, and also a bit scared, because if you've ever been obliterated in a group where no one else is, you know that you feel kind of like an alien abandoned by your comrades in a hostile planet, and that feeling was amplified by the fact that these friends of mine were kind of dickheads. Because after puffing down the J, we went to the local gas station to get some munchies, and of course I was fiending for some trans fat, so I asked them if they could go in there and bring me the stuff I wanted, and I'd of course pay them back. Pretty reasonable and easy, right? Being that I was the only one who was blasted and scared of getting caught. I guess fucking not, because these pussios who didn't even inhale the fucking weed told me that they wouldn't bring me anything if I didn't come in. Which, I mean, these days I wouldn't mind, but I was like 17 and it was a Friday night, the prime time for cop patrol, so I had no choice and went in there tweaking out of my mind like...
Oh, fuck, this place is full. Shit. Wait, it feels like they're all staring at me. No, I think I'm just high. Okay, let's just get out of here. I'm not gonna order anything. Okay, fine.
fight me. Go to the corner, go to the corner, go to the corner. Hey, yo, bro, I'm gonna just take some chips and candy, okay? And can you give me the car keys so I can just wait it out in the car while you guys wait for your food? Yeah? No. What? Why? I'm not even gonna turn it on, bro.
Cuz, bro, I got an announcement to make.
This motherfucker. Oh, yeah. Bro, shut the fuck up. That ain't funny. Unbake this fall, you pussy.
Okay, but yeah, you're not getting the keys.
So basically, these scumbags just decided to torture me, and because I had to wait for their food anyway, I went to order some too, and as I was doing so, 3 girls from my school approached me at the counter and were like, yeah, I'll have a
Hey, see, haven't you guys smoked some weed, yeah?
Well, no, I'll have the dumplings, yeah. But yeah, we definitely did. We're all super duper sober bober.
Yeah, you did. Dwayne said so. You got some left? You can come to our place if you have some. We really want to get faded too.
And in that moment, I had to pause and rethink my whole life because I did not in fact have any left because I wasted it all on my rinky-dinky sausage party bum fun enjoying friends. Which if I would have had some left, I could have gone to these girls' crib and smoked up with 3 hot chicks. But no, I donated all the weed to Dumber, and me, the dumbest. And after that realization of alliances, I changed the famous saying, bros before hoes, to bros who aren't hoes before bros. And I live by that to this day. But the scariest part was yet to come, because as I was waiting for my food posted up at the ice cream station, a cop walked in. And that just set my tweak meter to a whole new level. I felt my heart rate spike to like 200 and I was shaking just begging God for him not to walk towards me. But he fucking did. I avoided eye contact at all costs, but it seemed he had his eyes set on me. He got closer and closer until he was standing right in front of me.
Fuck, why is he here? He knows I'm faded, doesn't he? Oh shit, I'm fucked. I'm going to juvie. This is over. Oh my God, I'm gonna fucking die.
Yes, officer?
Could you move out of the way, please? I want some ice cream.
Yeah, of course. My bad.
Thanks. Nothing better than some good old Ben & Jerry's to complement a sour diesel joint. Shit, fucking fire.
Okay, the last part maybe didn't happen, okay? Anyway, the build-up, the weed, the cop, everything combined gave me some of the worst anxiety I've ever had. But the relief when he just wanted some ice cream was equally amazing. I had gotten away from this horrid situation, and once we got our food, we went to a hangout spot where I got really cold and tweaked again. Overall, I'd rate the high a 7 out of 10 just because it was eventful and I got a nice adrenaline dump, but it would have been a damn 9.5 if your boy could have gone to the girl's crib and got faded with some hot females instead of my pussy friends, goddamn. Although this high was quite stressful, it did have its highlights. Sun rock, the most powerful grass that humanity has ever conjured up, with even its less potent relative, moon rock, being so extreme that Snoop Dogg says it's too much. And since I had once already traveled to the moon and made it back alive, barely, I saw it only fitting for me to conquer the sun as well. But unlike last time, where I was in Amsterdam with my brother and had the comfort of tweaking together, this time I was alone, nearly 6,000 miles away from home, in the city of sin, Las Vegas, Nevada. The story kicks off a couple days after I had hit my first blinker and discovered a new realm of high. You know, kind of like Columbus when he discovered America, but unlike Columbus who annihilated the indigenous people, I was annihilating that, you know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, after seeing firsthand what the land of the free can offer in terms of getting obliterated beyond the realms of Mother Nature, I was quite intrigued. So, out of curiosity, I decided to Google strongest weed you can get in Las Vegas, just in case there was something more potent than moon rock, which up until this point I thought was the pinnacle of bud. So after stumbling upon an article comparing the rocks from the moon and sun, I realized that in my ignorance I had crowned a false king, and the only deserving punishment for a big smarty pants weed stickman YouTuber like myself was to feel the full wrath of the true strongest weed in the universe. I hopped on the local Las Vegas weed
dispensary site in hopes of having it delivered to me like the penjamin, but either due to current weather conditions or just the delivery man greening the fuck out, it said, "We are currently not providing deliveries." But for the time being, I had no other choice than to leave my apartment and go to the closest dispensary in hopes of them having this exotic nug in stock. Only problem was that it was night and well, your boy wasn't exactly staying at Caesar's Palace, so as I was preparing to go outside in the dark, where, mind you, I saw a guy walking around wearing a safety vest, rocking a handlebar mustache, and carrying a double-barrel shotgun the night before, I just had to take a quick rip from the bong to make it a high story, you know?
Okay, 2 miles that way. Wish I had a car. Guess I'll just run. Fucking bullshit.
A few minutes later.
Hello, sir? Oh yeah, hello. You guys have something called Sunrock? It's like, nope. Just sold the last stock. Those guys bought it. We got Moonrock, though. No, I've already done that. You know where I can get some Sunrocks, though? Yeah, the store a mile from here should have some left. Okay, yeah, thank you.
A few minutes later.
Sorry, I gotta see your passport first, bruh.
No, but this is like my government-issued ID, can you—
Look, I'm sorry. We have a lot of people visiting from banana republics these days, and we can't start selling to everybody with a rinky-dinky, "This is a real country, Google it," ID card. Come back with a passport and I'll hook you up.
I'm not from Banana Republic. We made Skype.
Hello there.
Yes, I had to now walk back 3 miles, get my passport, walk another 3 to get the Sunrock, and then walk another 3 back home. And mind you, I had already ran 3 miles too. So you know, of course, cause your boy fast as ball, quick as an electrical jolt, I got an Uber back home. But now I was fresh again, so of course I put on my Space Jams and I got an Uber. But then when I was there and showed my passport, received my $80 weed, I was not trying to get robbed on the walkway filled with homeless camps in Las Vegas fiends, so I got an Uber. Finally, after wasting a week's transportation budget in 40 minutes, I was back in my apartment, Sunrock in hand and rolling papers in my pockets. And yes, unlike last time with the Moonrock, I wasn't about to smack that shit from my bong and get assimilated. Cause from the blinker I had done a couple days back, I learned my lesson about concentrate. Do not underestimate it. So I rolled me up a Slimmy Slimmer, basically a very small J. And something you might not know is that with these caviar nugs like Sunrock, you're not really supposed to grind them with a regular grinder, so I just used my fingers to break the nug apart, and because of that, well, let's just say the airflow on this J was god awful. Later on I would find out you're not supposed to smoke Sunrock from a J at all, but hey, you live and you learn. Anyway, I went to my patio and attempted to light this abomination, and I mean, it really was. Imagine taking some A4 Wagyu steak and serving it in a dirty bucket, but alas, I still... The first puff, yes, the goddamn first puff got me drafted in a galactic war against the Matrix. And I think that had to do with the fact that Jay only had like 3 puffs in it, cause I was basically just smoking straight nugs. But I decided for the legacy of CBDBro, I shall do another puff. The French Revolution, the Napoleonic Wars, the moon landing, the splitting of the atom, the theory of relativity, it all flashed before my eyes because I now saw the world from an interstellar position. And I would love to say I now went on some grand adventure and discovered the Holy Grail with some Las Vegas crackheads, but this was different. The high was spent glued to my couch, wondering the meaning of the universe and how I had traveled 6,000 miles across the ocean and was now sitting on a couch in some random Airbnb completely and utterly blasted beyond human understanding. After about 15 minutes of doing literally nothing but staring at my wall, I decided to watch some YouTube and found this guy called Oversimplified who makes these historical animation videos and spent a good portion of my high learning about the history of our world. Too bad I don't remember a goddamn thing, but at the time I felt like I was really becoming a damn scholar. I guess the lessons and memories of that high are waiting for me once I return to the land of the sun.
Where am I?
Man, I told you not to smoke that Sunrock. You stuck on the sun now, fool, with the rest of us.
No! Oh, no, wait, that was just a dream. Damn, I'm fucked up.
Yeah, bro. You were in a hell of a kush coma.
Yeah, I guess I was. Wait!
Bro, I got stuck in a kush coma, my dudes. Shit was crazy, and I don't actually remember the exact dreams I saw, but they were pretty trippy, and it was one of those inception things that had me waking up from a dream into another dream, son. Safe to say, I had gotten assimilated. But it was kinda nice, cause it was a real clear high without anxiety, which usually when you get that obliterated, it always comes accompanied with just a little bit of anxiety at least. So, are sun rocks stronger than moon rocks? Yes, but the main thing I took from this high was that they also kinda better, but I mean, I've only done both once, so once I return to the US, I'll give them both another try and make a conclusion then.
Buying from the plug is always an experience, cause unless you're super tight with him, you never know if you're gonna get the leftover oregano Reggie pack he scraped from the bottom of his grinder, or if you lucky and the RNG god smile upon you, you might just get the finest organic grass-fed grass there is on planet Earth. But alas, most plugs keep that quality stuff for only the loyalist of customers or new buyers. For me, it was the latter. It begins with me and the main homie Salamander. We had just gotten home from school on a Friday and had scraped our money together for a night of hitting the Spliffington and playing video games. Now, usually it was Salamander who secured the bag, cause I didn't really have too many connects. Unfortunately, this time he was unable to find the holy saw from his usual catalog of plugs. But we didn't let that discourage us, cause we knew if there is a will, there is a way. So both me and Salamander started hitting up everybody we knew who dabbled with the powers of the green plant, and it wasn't looking too good. Altogether, we wrote about 10 people, half of which just ignored us, and the other half just said they were out. So, as we sat there on the couch, hope dwindling, sadness emerging, and worst of all, no Zaza approaching, we were about to call it a day, when one of the dudes who had initially ignored us sent out a beacon of light. Yeah, I know a guy. He just started plugging, so I can't vouch for the quality, but he definitely got some. Now, if you've ever been in a situation like this, you know it is one of the best feelings in the world when you've almost given up, but in the last second, you get that holy text of, yeah, how much? But even though we were pretty stoked, we were also a little bit wary, because this $20 we had saved up was the equivalent of 20 million in today's money, and because this guy was new and no info was given on the quality, we were scared of getting a bag of oregano. And I mean, at the time, we both thought all plugs are grueling gangsters ready to kill you on sight if you so much as make the wrong sound. So if it really was a bag of oregano, there was nothing we could do about it. Anyway, the time comes for us to meet up with this mysterious plug, and the instructions he gave us were to come to this rundown gas station's loading area in the back at 8 p.m. sharp. So we did. As we were standing there at 7:58 p.m., we could only imagine what vicious, heinous, devious killer would come to greet us. So yeah, we hyped him up a little too much, but all that mattered now was the grass and if it was good or not. We went through the usual plug dialogue options like, yo, what's up? Yeah bro, can't wait to get suited today. This that good, etc. Until he finally revealed the grass, and what I witnessed to this day I find absurd. The grass was golden. NANI? Not in like shiny gold, but it was this yellowish color with green accents. Beautiful. And the smell. Bro opened that bag up for us to sniff, but it was not necessary, as the smallest opening in that Ziploc baggie consumed the entire area with the finest fragrance imaginable. Oh, okay, well, finest is the wrong word probably. The shit smelled like cat piss, but that's a good thing with Zaza. So we gave up our $20 with no hesitation and returned to Salamander's place with this golden grass of the gods. Now, usually we would just roll up a spliff and consume the za like that, but as this seemed to be legendary material and we didn't want to waste even a single microgram, we made a makeshift can that would allow us to ration this gram to the maximum. So now it was time to hit the za, and it went something like this. Are you ready? Shit, you know it. Here goes nothing. You good, bro? Yeah, you gotta hit this shit, man. Hey, you good? You good, bro? You hear me? You good? Yeah, man, this is some good stuff. This shit was heavenly. It was not of this world, I swear. Now, I'm not sure if it was because our tolerance was pretty much zero at the time, or it was really grass descending from heaven.
probably a mix of both.
But one thing I do know, that was the highest I had ever been up until that point. And well, as we know, when you were really high, you don't remember much the night after. So unfortunately, I don't know exactly what we talked about or what we did, but I do remember that we caught a major case of the Joker's laughing gas cause we found everything hilarious. We were so goddamn high, it took us a solid 20 minutes to navigate the PS4 menu to launch our game of Call of Duty. And when we did launch it, we were cognitively impaired. Felt like the controller was inverted or some shit. But safe to say, that Friday night we were truly blessed by the plug, and we went on to exclusively buy from that guy until he stopped plugging 1 month later. But he will always hold a special place in my heart as the plug of plugs.
Vaping versus smoking. Both activities extremely similar to the naked eye, yet in reality, these lung-destroying practices are quite different. The same way smoking za used to be a very niche thing, mostly done by hippies in the 1960s to 1970s, so was vaping in the 2000s to early 2010s. Yet both smoking and vaping slowly but surely took over the world, to where nowadays you'll be walking down the street and see a dude puffing on a strawberry ice guacamole stick on one side, and on the other see a bunch of college kids sitting on a bench eye squinting like they got hit with a flashbang, holding the Teenage Mutant Ninja card screaming blinker. And although a lot of times a vapor can also be a smoker and the other way around, I'm here to try and figure out which one of these practices is definitively superior to the other, so you can once and for all say to the opposing faction, at least I don't vape, or at least I don't smoke. So let's get started with the first category, and that is the effect. This is probably the most important category because if you're going to damage your lungs and throat by inhaling a foreign substance, it better be at least a fun time. Which I think we can all agree, this is where smoking and vaping are completely different. With vaping, the high you get, if you can even call it that, is a buzz in your body, lightheadedness, bit of an increase to your social battery, and of course a small dopamine boost. But here's the kicker, you only feel this effect like the first couple times you do it, and later mostly only in the morning on your first puffs. So the action of vaping just kind of becomes a mindless habit where you're doing it not for the effect but just because your body is telling you,
hey, it's been like 30 minutes, you should really go and rip that 99 Nick strawberry mango punch.
Whereas the high you get from the grass is actually what you're inhaling it for, and although the effects vary from person to person, they usually consist of better mood, increased appetite aka the munchies, laughter, the increased significance of your thoughts, creativity, laziness, sleepiness, etc. But also, these effects are felt for much longer, of about 2 to 4 hours, compared to vaping, which is literally like 10 seconds. So if you look at it straight up, then smoking absolutely takes this category with ease. But then again, for people who are prone to getting paranoid and need everything planned out, the high from the za isn't guaranteed to be enjoyable, cause I mean, you can just green the fuck out. Whereas with vaping, you can't really get a bad trip, cause I mean, there is no trip. You're just sitting puffing on your mango stick doing whatever you're doing. But all in all, I'ma still go with the za on this one. So 1-0 smoking. Now let's look at the cost. Whether you want to inhale Chinese sweatshop chemicals that taste like strawberries or the devil's lettuce, it's gonna cost you. But the question is, which one is more expensive at every level of consumption? Well, let's look at it. Level 1 for vapors would be you just buy a dispo every week or so, which comes out to about $20 to $40 a month. And level 1 for smokers, I'd say it's about the same if you just blaze up on the weekends. So far, they're tight on cost, but now if you move up to level 2, which I think for vaping, it now indicates you're addicted and spending anywhere between $80 to $100 on dispos a month. For the za, level 2 would be smoking up once or twice every night at the end of your day, which although you're technically smoking every day, I don't think you'll be spending more than $100 a month. 10,000 BC, a group of cavemen in the Oki Islands of Japan needed some warmth and wanted to start a fire when they discovered a funny looking green plant, and either out of curiosity or desperation took it and inadvertently created history's first ever hotbox. Yet this early grass was not that loud that people be smoking today, because as we know, over the years the za has been scientifically and artificially cultivated to be much more concentrated in the high it gives. So although it is funny to think about a group of cavemen purposely starting a fire in a small shelter for the sole purpose of getting faded in a hoe, it is unlikely that it actually ever happened. Yet aside from this iffy recreational stint in Japan, hemp was first commonly used in the lands that are modern day Mongolia and China for more practical uses like eating it. Which, after saying that, you might be imagining something like this. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Had any fun with those new seeds I gave you?
Yo, nah, I actually came here to give them back. Last night I was looking at the moon and I swear that motherfucker was looking right back at me.
But alas, this probably wasn't the reality because the THC levels in this early cultivated Zaza were just really low, but soon the Chinese would discover that the holy plant's fibers were also great for making stuff too, like clothes, paper, and bowstrings. Which turns out hemp fibers were superior to the bamboo ones used by rivaling factions, allowing the Chinese to shoot their arrows much further. So basically, back in the day, if you were having a long distance bow battle and were losing, you might have screamed out, "We need to get closer! These motherfuckers have weed!" Anyway, it wasn't long after mofos realized that the loud wasn't only good for making stuff, it was also great for treating physical maladies. And after a couple thousand years, Emperor Shen Nung, known as the father of Chinese medicine, included the magic plant in his medical encyclopedia under the name Ma. Which, that sounds oddly similar to Za, doesn't it? I'm guessing every couple thousand years the first letter changes or something. But now, let's explore the question we're all asking. When exactly did mofos start ripping that shit to get faded? Well, one of the earliest counts is about 2,500 years ago, when researchers discovered 10 mini barbecues in a cemetery near modern-day Tajikistan that had residue of burnt cannabis with a much higher concentration of THC than normal, probably meaning it was selectively bred to get you, well, lit. Although this was one of the first counts of people purposely inhaling the broccoli to get high, it was most likely used as part of a ritual to invoke an altered state of mind so you could communicate with spirits.
Which shit, dog, I wanna know what these dudes were smoking, cause I ain't never heard of no grass that gets you to the spirit realm.
This might have low-key been the last kush Snoop Dogg smoked, cause once you get so high you start communicating with your dead gran-gran, that's when you really might be like,
okay, I think it's about time I stop smoking this shit.
Since cannabis, for one reason or another, proved to be quite the useful plant, people started trading it around the world as soon as it was domesticated. Which the only people who didn't really fuck with the Zaza were Europeans, who preferred getting hammered instead. Which is low-key reflected in modern times too, especially in the northern countries where once you turn 18, you can drink as much poison as you want, but if you want to blaze, well, you might be looking at a little bit of jail time, my boy. But now, let's quickly go over the uses of cannabis throughout different cultures so we can move on to the modern age, starting with Hindus. They made something called Bang, an edible cannabis paste that had medicinal properties but also got you high. This could be added to a variety of foods and drinks, which this Bang was the preferred food of the Hindu god Shiva, making him in my eyes the god of edibles.
Disclaimer, that was a joke.
Islam. Here the za was called hashish and was introduced about 1,000 years ago, which hashish wasn't strictly forbidden in the Quran at first, so a lot of Muslims ate it for its medicinal and relaxation properties. But later, Egypt basically banned it, and also the Quran was revisited by many and reinterpreted to include hashish to be banned just like alcohol. The Vikings. These dudes basically used the za to make rope, sailcloth, and other things, but also for its medicinal properties, mostly to relieve pain, and to date there's no hard evidence that they consumed it for its recreational use, but you know, maybe they should have, because they were quite the horrendous savages and murderers, so it might have made them think a little bit about peace and love. But what about America, England, and the actual global world powers? How did they react to weed? Well, again, like the Chinese, Europeans and Americans at first prominently used the magic green plant in the 16th to 18th century for more practical things like making sailcloth and rope, which the plant itself grew much larger in the New World soil, and combined with the practicality of it, everything started being hemp-derived. Clothes, paper, well, basically anything that required fibers. But the question still remains, when did mofos start smoking that shit to get blasted on the regular? Cause although at some point you, your neighbor, your grandma, your boss, and even George Washington were out here growing weed, wasn't nobody out here rolling them up. Well, until the arrival of Mexicans. The loud version of hemp first arrived in Brazil in the early 1500s by way of enslaved Africans traveling with the Portuguese. And the native South Americans, who are already consuming some other psychoactive substances, quickly started blazing the Zaza too, and its use soon spread across South America and into Mexico, from which in the 1910s is when the loud first spread into the US via Mexican immigrants escaping the effects of the Mexican Revolution. And almost immediately the good was viewed as a threat, and by 1931 29 states had banned its use. Although it wasn't really the Zaza that the US didn't fall with, it was unfortunately mostly just racism against Mexican Americans and black citizens of the South, which both these groups were enjoyers of the Zaza to some regard, so it became a scapegoat for racial bias in the US, and they blamed it for everything from petty crimes all the way to murder. And in 1937 the US completely banned all non-medical use of weed, which all of this kind of explains why the mostly peaceful plant has been thrown in the same Schedule 1 category with full-on life-destroying substances like heroin and cocaine. But thankfully, a couple decades later came the hippie movement of the 1960s to 1970s. This is what lightly sparked a comeback for weed, cause unlike before, when the Zaza was mostly smoked by Mexican immigrants and black citizens who the US was massively racist against, the hippie movement had middle-class white American youth start blazing too. Which it was all about love, peace, spirituality, non-violence, and of course, every hippie's favorite, recreational drug use. Although most hippies were all about peace and love, that was quite easy to say when most of them were literally privileged enough to drop out of college, run off with Cassandra in a rainbow van, go on copious amounts of mindset-altering trips, mostly powered by LSD, and then return 10 years later to their parents and have them say,
It's okay, son. I was young and stupid once too.
Anyway, although the grass was still federally illegal, this didn't really do much, cause in 1976, 1 in 8 Americans over the age of 12 admitted to smoking it in the past 30 days. Hippies though were especially interested in cannabis, so much so they went on something called the Hippie Trail, which was basically an excursion by the youths of the world to go over to the Middle East and India, all while riding in magic buses and discovering new ways to get absolutely blasted, such as smoking the concentrated Zaza resin known as hash. But acquiring the Zaza would soon get much harder, because you see, most of it came from Mexico, so in 1969 the US started patrolling the border, and in 1975 they got even more aggressive and started spraying herbicide on Mexican weed plants. And so good old supply and demand made grass prices skyrocket, which a lot of people started then growing the plant themselves in mini greenhouses, closets, bathtubs, storage units, basements, wherever they could. But then in 1982, Mr. Smarty Pants Ronald Reagan took it even a step further by encouraging the streamlined arrest of anyone in possession of an illegal substance, which was really dumb because most of the focus was on pot, all while crack, meth, and heroin were all still being transported and consumed on a regular basis. Even worse, this enforcement seemed to be racially motivated because despite plenty of traffickers and consumers being white, the majority of arrests were Latino and black youths, all while this bizarre over-focus on cannabis allowed the growing opioid epidemic to go unchecked. But thankfully, the US is slowly learning from their mistakes, where today 24 states have legalized the recreational use of marijuana. On top of that, the increased level of research on it has also found multiple medical use cases and can be prescribed to you by special doctors if seen fit. And although the Zaza is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, the overall perception of it has changed for the better, including in December 2022 when President Biden signed a bill to make it easier for researchers to obtain plants for their studies, which will hopefully accelerate the learning of positive and negative side effects of consuming the Za even further. But all that aside, the overall vibe towards the loud has gotten a lot more accepting, and these days more and more people view the smoking of the grass not as you being a junkie, but the same way as having a couple beers with the homies on a Friday night and watching some WWE. So looks like smoking is edging it out. Well, that's until the next level, where most vapors probably buy themselves a box mod, which is the equivalent of buying a car instead of taking a taxi everywhere. And on the other end, here's where smoking Za can get a bit more expensive. At level 3, you blazing 24/7, and you're high not just at the nighttime when you're done with your day, but also when you're going through your day. And because of that, your tolerance has gone up a lot, to the point you having to spend over $200 a month just to continue your Za smoking, which don't let it get that far.
please. It's really not worth it. And at level 3 vaping, because you can just get a box mod eco nic machine, your costs ain't really go up that much. Shit, it might have even gone down. So basically, at the higher echelon of being a nic fiend, it's much cheaper than being a 24/7 high stoner. Which would mean vaping wins, right? Well, technically yeah, but to be honest, is it really a good thing you can puff on your lung cancer strawberry ice machine for so cheap? I don't think so, and honestly, I'm kinda happy about how if you smoke up 24/7, your tolerance will evolve to a point you have to drop a bag every month just to keep up with your dependency. That being said, I'ma have to leave it at a tie here. 2-1 smoking grass. Now it's time for addictiveness. I think this one's a no-brainer. Nicotine is obviously more addictive, right? Well, yeah, but there are some more aspects to this comparison, like the fact even if you're completely addicted to nic, you can go about your everyday life just the same, cause it doesn't make you slower mentally, nor lazy, nor paranoid. It's just slowly but surely giving you lung cancer. But with ZA, if you really start abusing that shit, it'll affect your everyday life, cause it can lower motivation, make you less driven, slower mentally, and hazy. But all of that is only if you let yourself get that far, which is much harder than with nic. Cause the ZA is just less addictive than the mango stick, meaning with vaping it can literally take just one puff to get you hooked, but with the ZA it's more like an experience. So although you might have a great time your first high, you won't be in the school bathrooms the next day like,
Yo, you think you can give me a couple puffs off that? Haven't did anything in hours. Really? Give me that!
okay, it's not that bad, but be wary. Nicotine fiends, they'll do anything for a puff off that elf bar. For real. Anyway, this point goes to the grass yet again because of its much less addictive nature. 3-1 smoking. But maybe this next category will ignite a comeback for vaping. Availability. Nic sticks are sold everywhere, from gas stations to smoke shops to shit, some grocery stores. And on the other hand, the Zaza, if you're in the United States, where let's be honest, you probably are, you can get them at dispensaries or your local Pablo Escobar, the plug. Which unfortunately, dispensaries are more of a luxury that only legal state citizens in the US are afforded, and for the rest of us, we have to deal with the lawless, sometimes sleazy creatures called plugs. I mean, for real, why the fuck do I, a law-abiding citizen, have to deal with criminals on a weekly basis just because I wanna relax and eat some double-stuffed Oreos on a Friday night? But if I wanna get shit-faced drunk and go outside with the homies committing 3 counts of disrupting the peace, 4 counts of destruction of public property, and 58 counts of,
Yo, what's that guy looking at? He got a problem?
then that's totally fine. So I think we can all agree vaping takes this one. 3-2. Now time for a category which will either tie it up or secure the major Tate W for smoking, and that is the community. Vape Nation versus yeah man. Or at least that's the stereotype. In reality, it ain't really like that. Although from my experience, vapors are more extroverted because they're always vaping in a circle in the damn bathroom, chit-chatting about their flavors. And smokers are more introverted and chill, who would rather sit down and play some modded Minecraft with the homies than go to the club. Oh, and if you're looking for a place where you can find more people like that, then why not join the ItsCbdBro Discord? We also just hit 5k members, so join the revolution, the weed revolution. Anyway, this could be biased because I'm a smoker myself, but I personally think the Zaza community is better than the vaping. Although I really don't like grass NPCs who make the Za their whole personality, these dudes are pretty easily spottable and avoidable. But I mean, vapors got the same thing. Imagine standing in a circle, everybody puffing on their dispo, and then some dude pulls out the Vaporizer Ultra 3000i Max, fully equipped with 8 flavors, a touchscreen, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth capability. I think the exact same thing that I do with grass NPCs. That's a bit too much, man. Anyway, 4-2. Smoking wins. Have you ever been baked and thought, damn bruh, I'm bored? Yeah, me neither, but here are my 5 favorite things to do that just mix perfectly with being high. Number 1. Munching. Obviously, this one's a no-brainer, but I gotta mention it. Who doesn't love buying a whole birthday cake and a 20-piece chicken nugget special, then proceeding to annihilate your whole daily calorie intake in about 20 minutes? And the crazy part is that I let my body digest that kilogram of munch for like 30 minutes and I'm right back to hungry again. There is the risk of overeating and getting a stomachache, which can really ruin your high,
but that's pretty easily avoidable with the OP skill called jugging water. Pretty much, just drink some water every 5 minutes of munching, and you physically can't get to a point where your stomach gets cramped, cause it's too busy being full of that health potion called H2O. Number 2, going outside with the homies. Now this one has a high cooldown, meaning if you do it for multiple days in a row, it'll get progressively more boring. But I think the most important factors for if you find it fun or not is what people are you with and your stoner power level. Now, your stoner power level is determined by the strength level of these 3 attributes: tolerance, confidence, and not giving a fuck. With tolerance comes experience, and with experience comes confidence, and with confidence comes the power to remain calm in every situation. So basically what I'm saying is, if you're baked out of your mind and you see some sleep paralysis demon type shit, you gotta be high enough stoner power level so you can remain calm and just go jump that goofy looking fool. Overall, this is a high risk, high reward activity, as if something crazy happens, you'll probably remember that night for the rest of your life. But if nothing interesting occurs, at the end of it, you'll be regretting not staying home and having a munch session. Number 3, playing video games. This one is something that mixes quite well with being baked, cause a lot of times after a few puffs of that sweet magic hash, you get real tired. But nobody wants to just go to sleep and waste their high, so now you got 2 options. Lay on your bed and watch the day fly by, or get on Discord with the boys and play some. Whatever really, you're baked, man. Every game feels like playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare for the first time. And bro, on God, I be playing Valorant and be having some cyborg eagle focus. Out here hitting clip after clip, feeling like I'm Shroud out here in these lobbies. All that being said, the best thing about gaming on the moon is that you literally never get tilted. Or I don't know if it's just me, but I can be on a 5-game losing streak, on the verge of getting D-ranked, all the homies are arguing in the voice chat, and I'm just like, hey yo, guys, chill. We got the next one. We just gotta play as a team, that's all.
Shut up, dumbass, you're the one who keeps bottom fragging.
Number 4, watching comedy movies or stand-up comedy. This used to be one of my favorites, but man, I've watched every good comedy movie that's ever been produced. Honestly, I've watched most of the bad ones too. A new thing I've been recently discovering though is stand-up comedy. And to be fair, it's good, but it just don't have the same it factor that something like the OG Pineapple Express had back in the day. That could be just a nostalgia talking, but I remember watching it when I was like 14 and it was just a straight banger. Crazy part is, I wasn't even high. One thing though that stand-up comedy got that movies don't is that you don't have to focus on it to understand. Cause at some point anything you watching just kinda becomes background noise to your thoughts. And it's good if you can shift in and out of focus while still understanding what's going on.
Hey bro, you good? You kinda just been staring at the wall for an hour. Yeah man, I'm good. Just thinking, that's all.
Quick tip before we move on to number 5. Adam Sandler. This man only makes bangers. He's just incapable of missing, especially if you get baked before watching him.
Number 5. Listening to music and just vibing. This one can be a little controversial if you don't live alone, firstly because it is not something a non-baked human would consider as a normal pastime activity, but shit, when I'm suited and I suddenly remember a great song from my childhood or something and start vibing to the music video, I'll be feeling like I'm right there with my man Eminem rapping about being the real one out of all these fake shadies. This is also one of those rare activities where there is literally no downside to being as baked as humanly possible. What I mean is if you're just high, every lyric and instrumental connects with you. When you're at the level above high, you'll be feeling like you're right there with the artists. You go even one step further, and now there is officially a full-blown music festival going on right in front of your living room mirror, and you're at the main stage with thousands of fans cheering your name. Just remember to be mindful of how loud you're being, cause nobody wants to deal with an angry neighbor, especially when you're suited out of your mind. So, you've made it all the way here. Well, thanks to that, you get to discover the secret 6th activity on the list. Number 6. Getting more high. You might say this is obvious, and it just may be, but there's a certain sense of exploration and wonder in trying to reach new heights and go beyond the limits of the mortal man. Also, this isn't as easy as it might sound, because if you're a daily smoker, your built-up tolerance just won't allow it. That means you gotta take a tolerance break for at least 2 weeks to even think about doing this activity. But oh boy, once you meet the criteria for this one, it sure is one hell of a fun time. Unless you have a bad trip or something. But shit, just don't be a pussy and you'll be fine.
I think we've all been to a carnival at least once in our lives. They are usually very, well, fun is the wrong word to describe it. I'd say interesting, I guess. So when my main man Salamander hit me up a couple years back and was like, "Hey yo bro, have you been to the town square? It's that time of year again." What time of year? New Year's a ways away, bruh. Nah, bruh, even better. What could be better than New Year's Eve? Bro, the Carnival. The Carnival? Yeah, man, the Carnival. That's kinda gay, bruh. Man, shut up, fool. You just mad cause you ain't got no hoes. You ain't got no hoes either, man. What about that girl at the party last week? Bro, you were so wasted you ain't even remember that it was the host's mom trying to escort you out. Fool. Okay, whatever, man. You wanna come or not? Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass. Shit's a waste of money and I'm dead broke. We can get high before at my place, you know. Shit, why you ain't say that before? I'm in. I love the carnival. I've always loved the carnival, man. Salamander had kind of a funky home situation, so a lot of times he had a completely free house, which meant that getting high there was always awesome, cause there was just so much to do in that big ass house. Anyway, I pull up to his place, and if you saw my last video, you know that this man rolls the most perfect spliffs in existence, and this time was no different. Bam! Whips that big old thing out. No homo. And we puff that ganja stick till it's a stinger. Honestly, we probably smoked half the filter too, cause in high school, weed was so valuable that even when you could clearly tell there ain't no Zaza left, someone was always like, "Hey yo bro, what you doing? There's a good 2 to 3 puffs left in that thing. I'ma hand bong it." All you, bro. All you. Anyway, we get zoinked and I'm honestly feeling good. Like I ain't smoked too much nor too little, but just right. For now. We start walking to the carnival and I'm starting to get more high. But I know that's just cause I ain't laying on the couch eating Oreos no more and I'm actually outside embarking on a quest with my guide Salamander. So we get to the carnival and man, this place ain't what it used to be. I guess that's probably cause all of the animal right movements and stuff, but it looks like a retirement home for washed up circus clowns. Speaking of clowns, there was obviously also a circus show that was gonna be happening soon, so we went ahead and bought some cotton candy and popcorn and sat down waiting for it to start. Hey, it's starting bro, check it out, this finna be fire. And the way mans was hyping it up, I couldn't help but get a little excited too, cause after all, I do have some great memories of circus shows from when I was a kid, and as we all know, there ain't no better combo than Kush and nostalgia. Except for maybe Kush and Twinkies. Anyway, they start announcing the show. Ladies and gentlemen, what you have all been waiting for, the tamer of lions, the conqueror of the jungle, the one and only, Magistro! Bruh, who the fuck is that guy? Man looks like Joe Biden's less successful brother. Shit, man, you right. I might have overhyped the carnival a bit, I guess. You wanna leave? Nah, bro, it's alright. This finna be funny as hell. Maybe I'll even do a flip. Now, there are two ways something can be entertaining. Either it's well thought out and executed, or it's a complete disaster and so bad that it's good. And this carnival show was the latter. We were sat there laughing like maniacs from how much they hyped this man Magistro up on everything he did and how anticlimactic it all turned out to be. Even though it did hurt to watch my childhood memories of lions jumping through fire hoops and acrobats doing quadruple backflips whilst riding on a horse destroyed by the one and only Magistro, it was still funny as fuck.
The first high, a core memory, and whether you enjoyed it or not doesn't really matter, cause for 95% of people, their first time literally shapes their entire opinion on the grass. Almost everybody who isn't age 50 or over and says, "Weed is the work of the devil, and should be more illegal than even meth." Well, actually it is. The Za is Schedule 1 and meth is Schedule 2, so...
Yeah, that's right. That's why I love America. Greatest damn country in the world.
USA! USA! USA!
Anyway, what I was saying was that most people who tweak their first time are put off by it for a while and shape into za haters, and people who have fun their first time, believe it or not, don't all become mindless junkies who eat Little Caesars and watch SpongeBob all day. Rather, when asked their opinion on weed, they'll probably just say,
My stomach turned into an endless void with an unquenchable hunger for anything edible, which was followed by a sleepiness so uncontrollable I passed out halfway into my 25th Twinkie. It was pretty fun.
So obviously me, CBDBro, who runs an entire YouTube channel dedicated to the green plant, must have had the latter experience, right? Well, not really. As you see, when I was but a wee lad, uncontaminated by the forbidden fruits of the world like alcohol, nicotine, and yes, weed, always believed that alcohol makes you homeless, nicotine makes you a little bitch, and weed makes you lazy. Thinking that, I didn't want to waste not just my first high, but my very first time feeling anything besides normal on eating Doritos and watching Family Guy. Which, after turning 17, I decided it was about time I lost my substance virginity and planned to do so on Christmas dinner, where I was gonna let El Marijuana put its big, fat, thick, juicy, delicately rolled J in my mouth, but only after I had eaten, as I believed if my tummy was full, I wouldn't get the munchies and could instead contemplate the meaning of life my time high. And thankfully, I had an older brother who was more than willing to give me a puff or two from his Christmas dinner J for $4, the fucking cheapskate. So we went upstairs and started puffing, which Rezex was instantly bamboozled from the magic grass. Nice, it's not a dud. Now it's my turn. I grabbed the J and puffed until I could puff no more. And the result was, I didn't feel a damn thing. Still had to pay the $4 though. Fucking bullshit. Anyway, as we went through the day, I got increasingly more jealous of my brother, who by his words was fried AF. I was beginning to think maybe I'm immune to getting high, which after telling my brother this theory, he concluded that I'm stupid and just didn't inhale the za in my lungs, and so generously told me to follow him upstairs, where he gave me a couple more puffs for an extra $4, the damn venture capitalist. As I was smoking away, keeping in mind to inhale it all the way down to my lungs, I still wasn't feeling anything, and my hopes of getting fried AF were beginning to look more like a distant dream. When I finished puffing, I sat down at the computer to look at some of those watch while high videos, and my brother asked me, "So, you feel anything now?" No, I don't. What's this weird I'm not sure. I don't know, seems to me you're fried like some Kentucky chicken, boy. I was indeed fried, and incredibly so. Although I didn't smoke a ton, my body had never experienced anything besides a sugar rush and maybe a caffeine kick. So as I was watching this watch while you're high video, I was laughing at everything and was tripping the fuck out. But not in a bad way, it was freaking amazing. Being high was what I always imagined it to be until... Bloop. I'm sober again. Yeah, you heard right. My first high lasted like 30 seconds, and in an instant, I was back to normal, which I don't know why. Even to this day, when I tell people about this, nobody can relate because no one has experienced this phenomenon. But since I'm a scientist, I have developed a super duper concrete theory backed by quantum mechanics and the late great Stephen Hawking on my experience, and overall the reason why a lot of people who smoke their first time don't feel anything. I theorize that all humans have a natural block against foreign substances, a wall per se, and when an individual inhales za, the particles act kind of like micromissiles targeting your cannabinoid receptors. For the people whose defensive wall is strong enough, it will stop all perpetrators attempting to infiltrate your brain. But this wall isn't regeneratable, so if the micromissiles fail to get you fried at first, the next time they'll have an easier time against your already damaged wall of defense. Now, I bet you're thinking to yourself, this mofo been smoking too much of that Einstein pack. And to you, I say maybe, but also I have practical proof of this theory. I used to be a pro baller, and one day me and a couple hooper friends who all have great immune systems and therefore probably good za defensive walls decided to smoke up, and to my buddies, it was their first time. Once we lit the J and passed it around, I made sure to tell everybody to inhale the smoke in their lungs, which I'm pretty sure they all did, but still, I was the only one who got high, cause it wasn't my first time. But when I smoked up with some of my
non-athlete first-timer friends, they all got high like normal. So, conclusion, defensive saw wall is a real thing and I stand by my theory. Anyway, although that was my first time feeling high, I wouldn't call it my first high because it only lasted for half a minute. My first real high experience was something even more memorable and etched to my brain until I die. A couple weeks after the last incident, me and Riz X decided it was about damn time I actually felt the true loving touch of the Mary Jane. And this time, instead of having only scraps of za, we bought a whole gram to hopefully destroy my highly speculative za wall. I think it's real. Also, at this time, we were obsessed with freestyle rapping, so we decided the plan of action was to smoke up, eat candy, and rap battle to copyright-free beats while recording it so we could listen to our unreleased tracks in the morning. Since our parents were away for the night, we got the whole apartment to ourselves and planned on rolling 2 J's, both containing 0.5 G's. Since we were petrified at the thought of getting caught blazing, instead of being sensible and smoking the J's near a window and just blowing the smoke out, we put our jackets on and walked 500 feet away from the apartment to light up, just to be sure that there wouldn't even be a microfiber of evidence that we were smoking the devil's lettuce. As we were consuming the J, all I could hope for was that this time I wouldn't just get a limited free trial, but the actual full version. But alas, when we finished puffing the J, I again felt nothing, or at least that's what I thought, cause as we arrived back home, I finally realized that, so you feeling it? Yeah, kinda. Sometimes the high hits you a couple minutes later, especially if you're going from outdoors to indoors as we did. And my highly accepted theory in the science community about this phenomenon is that through evolution, we have always considered indoors to be our safe zone and outdoors dangerous. Therefore, when you're outside, your brain doesn't allow the full faded and relaxed effect to take over, probably in anticipation of a roadman coming and chefing you up with the mandem. Okay, this one I'm not so confident in, and I have to come clean. I am in no shape or form associated with the science community. Yet. Anyway, now that we were high and in the living room, we started putting on some beats and freestyling, and to this day, I have yet to replicate the skill and precision of my flow that high. It's hard to explain, but nowadays, I can't rap for shit. I mean, I'll spit one line and be like, yo, I've been getting money making racks, cause you know I flip them packs. That's facts. Yeah, that's it. Basically, I run out of rhymes pretty fast, but that day, I did not. In fact, even when my brain had nothing to say, my mouth rapped it for me. I turned into a freestyling robot and became dead sure that I was gonna make it out by dropping a mixtape and becoming a famous rapper. Until we listened to the recording in the morning and realized, yo, flowing on the go, your girl she a hoe, making money dancing with a pole, my girl making dough while doing lines of blow, cause we in the penthouse, baby, living life, and that's for show. Yeah, I'll try YouTube instead. What's crazy though is that after that, I was never able to replicate the auto-rapping again, so my rap career never flowered, but who knows, maybe I'll try to convert this channel into lyric videos and shitposting, all while steadily alienating my audience and killing my channel. Or maybe I should just make a separate channel for that?
The wake and bake is a legendary art form created by humans of the highest intellect. The act of waking from one slumber and immediately entering into Yodi land is a sacred practice known only to the chillest of creatures. There has been a lot of controversy in the meaning of wake and bake. Some say it can only truly be called the holy practice if one smokes up immediately after awakening from dreamland. Others, including myself, believe it is not necessary to sleep next to your crusty last cleaned in 2007 smelling like a rotting can of tuna ass piece of glass. Cause I don't know about you, but personally I like to start my mornings off with something nice, like a coffee or some bacon and eggs, not the taste of water in my mouth whilst coughing my lungs out. I believe a true connoisseur won't partake in such barbaric activities and will at least put some pants on before smoking that doozy. Now, if you ever participated in the wake and bake, you will know that it hits differently than, let's say, an evening bake, but only if you got the whole day free, cause the Zaza will amplify your excitement for the coming day, or until you eat breakfast and pass out on your bed. Back in summer, I used to bake after the wake quite a bit. It was always really nice to just go outside to the warm sun while smoking that morning pack. And bro, don't get me started on those breakfast munchies. I'm usually the guy to only drink coffee or something for breakfast, but that early morning grass gets me on that Nicotine avocado pack, I swear.
Bro, how much are you going to eat?
Everything. And after a delightful breakfast like that, how can you be anything but energized? Nah, in reality, after destroying 2,000 calories of Twinkies, you're probably gonna pass out in 20 minutes. But that's why after the first couple times, I created the 3 golden rules of a productive wake and bake. Number 1. Don't have a demonic ritual that involves you sacrificing 15 hot pockets in your stomach.
But you just said that the breakfast munchies are nice.
Yeah, they are, but you have to treat the massive breakfast kind of like drinking alcohol. So you gotta understand the sacrifice you are making by having that giant breakfast. You are effectively done for the day, as you will most likely fall right back to sleep after, and then when you do wake up from your 3-hour morning nap, you'll feel all hazy and bad, cause you just wasted your whole day. Lazy piece of shit. So if you wanna avoid that, don't wake and munch. Number 2. Make a plan the night before. Have goals set for the day. Basic stuff like buy groceries, maybe work out, hang with some friends, stuff like that. Cause when you have a plan the night before, you are much less likely to just sleep the whole day and then at night feel like a lazy fat tub of lard. But also keep in mind, you are supposed to have fun on a wake and bake, so don't make the objectives too hard cause you're probably just not gonna do them then. Some of my favorite wake and bake activities include going to the gym, playing a team sport, playing a story game, bathing in the sun, going to the store, hanging out with the homies, etc. Anyway, time for the last rule, which is number 3. Don't get obliterated on the wake and bake. So this one is kinda obvious, but important nonetheless. It might seem like a great idea to get soinked up to nines on your first hit, but in reality, all that will do is spoil the plans you set the night before. Cause no matter how productive of a smoker you are, when you're faded to the max, there is about a 95% chance you'll tell yourself, ugh, whatever, I'll do it tomorrow. Which once evening rolls around, will hit you with that existential depression. And the only way to escape from that is with the purest form of productivity. We've all had it, we all know it. 2 a.m. motivation.
The drugs, the cigarettes, that dumb bitch. It all starts fucking today, alright? No more fucking excuses. This is the year of the fucking soldier.
And I mean, even though who doesn't love a bit of midnight motivation, it won't get you anywhere in the long term, and really is usually just a sign of doing nothing useful during the day. But hey, if you follow these 3 golden rules, I'm sure your future wake and bakes will be much more productive and fun. At least I hope so. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like nowadays most mofos would rather breathe mango juice mist than oxygen. I mean for real, vaping is so normalized and common, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who doesn't do it. Like I swear, some dudes don't even have their own vape, but just know everybody else has one and rely on that to fill their addiction. Couldn't be me though. What you looking at? Anyway, since your boy is a freshly addicted nicotine fiend, I've experienced firsthand the levels of addiction to this devilish substance, and I hope for your guys' sakes, you've never nor never will touch the stuff. Level 1.
Bro, why would anyone like this?
Your first puff off that awful mango stick, and even though it tastes pretty nice, you probably thought to yourself, bro, why would anyone do this? Just chew gum or something. But then after a couple more puffs, cause I mean you're already at the function or bathroom or whatever, you're like, wait, what's this feeling? I feel a bit dizzy and lightheaded, but I think I like it. And boom, you just took your first step to addiction land. But if you're one of the strong, mythical humans who after that realization also realized that this shit can get bad real quick and stopped, big ups to you, big dog, cause you actually a true G for that. But for most people, it was more like, oh, this is pretty nice. I think I'll visit the bathroom tomorrow as well. And well, that right there is the beginning of the end, cause if you go to that bathroom the next day too, you'll move right on to Level 2, Social Vapor. Well, you didn't stop yourself when it would have been easy, and now here you are. Not a resident in the school bathroom yet, but a frequent visitor. At this point, you still don't have your own vape, cause in your mind, you know that's when you can't make any more excuses. You would be addicted and would have to face the harsh reality. But while you're at this level, mofos will urge you to buy your own one, and well, that's because you're always begging for them quick rips without donating them yourself. Which, although kind of a dick move, if you can somehow take those ego hits of brokey, get your own vape, fool. Ah, it's the quick rip beggar. Without buying your own, you're actually doing good. And to be honest, vape juice costs pennies, and most of the fools who tell you to buy your own just don't want to feel inferior, so they try to get you completely addicted like them. But if you fall under the spell of the Tate fans and the word brokey destroys you, plus, you know, it would be nice to be able to inhale that cancerous mango juice at home too. You'll move on to Level 3,
The Tispo Vape Man is here. You bought yourself a disposable vape, cause well, it's the easiest way to get your own nicotine addiction machine without forking up $50 for one of those weird futuristic box things that make them mega clouds. And because of that, your inhaling of mango juice has quadrupled at least, if not hexex mega dupled, which is like 15 times more. I think. I don't know math. You vape on your way to school or work, you vape during that time, you vape on the way back, and you vape when you're home. So yeah, things ain't looking that good. But remember how at level 2 you told yourself, I will admit that I'm addicted when I buy my own vape? Yeah, well, now you're telling yourself, I just bought one, I'm not addicted or anything. Which will be a recurring theme in the unholy land of addiction. Good news is, this is a point where most people draw some type of line. So like, I can only buy one vape a week, or I'ma slowly start trying to decrease my consumption of cancer. Bad news is though, nicotine is gonna try its damn best to beat that sense of moderation out of you. And if you let it, well, you're going to. Level 4. I'm addicted, aren't I? Welcome to Addiction Land. It's a lot like Yodi Land, except for it sucks balls. And there's monsters and demons and stuff too. At this point, you don't go anywhere without your vape. I mean for real, the thought of not having it with you makes you low-key anxious. And also, you've abandoned trying to hide your addiction from others. Meaning, before, let's say you went to a family gathering or something, you would deem that a no-vape zone, cause being addicted is something no one wants to admit to themselves, especially the people who are closest to you. But at least you're not addicted to the point of not going to places you can't vape. Because although it is tough not being able to inhale mango juice for an extended period of time, you still have the self-respect to be like, no, I'm not that much of an addict that I'm not gonna go to my homie's funeral cause I can't vape there. I will endure the pain. Unfortunately, the whole addiction is deeper, and you still haven't touched the bottom, so if you keep on inhaling without lowering the frequency of it, you'll move on to Level 5. The depths of hell. Well, you're addicted and your brain has ran out of excuses to make you feel better about yourself. If anyone asks if you're ever gonna quit, your answer will most likely be, maybe one day, or when I need to. The latter being such an incredibly sad and stupid answer that I'm pretty sure the person saying it doesn't even understand how messed up it is. Like, what do you mean? You'll stop when your doctor says you have lung cancer? Bro, it's too late. Here's your chemotherapy brochure. Treatment starts tomorrow. All jokes aside, guys, this is awful. I've heard people say stuff like that, and it really does sadden me that they themselves don't even understand how shitty of a situation they're in. At this point, you have 100% started experiencing awful side effects like smoker's cough, phlegm in your throat 24/7, and overall low energy and mood when you're not inhaling nicotine. The road to recovery is long and hard, but if you can somehow find the courage to start trying to beat this awful, devilish, monstrous addiction, you'll go to Level 6. Recovery. Not much to say here. When you got all the way to level 5, it's gonna be a slow climb down, unlike the lower levels where if your willpower allows it, you can just stop on the spot and go back to level 0. Here though, you gotta slowly go down, cause you have actual side effects from not consuming Nick. But for all my homies who have the courage to admit to themselves that this shit has gotten out of hand, I applaud you and hope for a day where all of us can chill together in peace without having that constant voice in our heads going, hey, it's been 20 minutes. Time for some nicotine. And if you're thinking about trying vaping, then please, for me, you, and everybody who loves you, don't. It's awful and lame as fuck.